Hello, hello. On today's show, I'm going to talk about the new season of Loki. Mike's going to review his favorite book of 2023 again. And Pat's back to fill the void in the show and in your collectibles. Welcome to your favorite live streaming, whatnotting podcast, comics and collectibles in the crawl space. I, of course, am your fourth or fifth favorite podcasting host, Kevin. And we've actually got a full, there's the full house. Okay, I'm just going to say, hey, Pat, what's up? You want to say hey?
Hello, everyone.
I was just getting ready to say hey to Mike, but then we could see you already, so I figured I'd start with you. And then, of course, Mike.
Hey, good morning. Good to see everyone.
I was just getting ready to make an excuse as to why I said Pat is back to fill a void, and then I realized, wait, he's not here, but then he's here during the intro. Perfect. All right. So we starting late today, but most of that is because we filmed our cover combat, and it was epic. So I just wanted to say that out of the gate. We'll drop that on Monday. Make sure you check that out. So we've got no cover combat during this show today. This is the first time we're doing it. It's a complete separate episode. Stay tuned for that on Monday. But it was awesome, right?
It was.
Don't forget Karen's good porch there.
What'd you say, Mike?
I said, don't forget Karen's on the front porch of the show.
Yeah. That's true. Hey, also the amazing background producer, Karen. That's so funny. I literally forgot, and I wasn't tracking with you at all, Mike, because what I thought you said during her clap track was, don't ask Karen's opinion on cover combat. We won't get into exactly why that is, but check it out on Monday to see why that is a fact, in my opinion, as well. So we're super excited for everybody to see that. And Johnny made a guest appearance, which is always also good as well. So
yeah, if you needed another reason to check in, Johnny's on the show.
Yeah, right. But we give everybody plenty of reasons every week, so they should be here every week. That's for sure, in my humble opinion. So, all right, got a lot of stuff on this episode today as well. We took a big chunk out of it by separating cover combat. We still got a ton of stuff to do here, though, right?
Yeah.
We do.
All right, let's get rolling. Man, it's so crazy to skip over so many things to what Kevin watched for it to be the very first thing. But I'm excited about it because we got a significantly large, popular new show to drop this week. I'll get to that in a minute. Let's start with the ones that I've already been talking about. And we had a conversation prior to the show today, Mike, about changing up the visuals when I do a show multiple times, but I didn't do that, of course, with Daryl Dixon, The Walking Dead. But this is exciting too, because Mike, you said you're up to date on Daryl Dixon now too, right?
Man, I'm so close. I'm 3 episodes in. I think the 4th episode came out Sunday, and I didn't get to that one.
Dadgum. Pat,
I know.
You're muted, Pat.
Unfortunately, I haven't got to start this yet. I'm still watching wrapping up Dead City or whatever it's called.
Okay.
And then my DVR screwed up, and I only have like episodes 2 and 4 of Daryl Dixon recorded. So,
oh, dadgum. One's super important in this show too.
yeah, I figured.
Yeah. So I watched episode 4. Mike, since you're so close, is that okay for me to review for you, or want to check out because you're gonna watch it soon?
No, it's cool because the first 3 episodes you've talked about them all, and I've still enjoyed them. They're good.
Okay, good.
So,
okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and mute, and I'll watch for you to change over to the next one. So
Okay, cool. Okay. So and actually too, there's not a whole lot to spoil during this episode. And if I'm not a contradicting type of person, meaning myself, I don't know what I am, because I don't know how many times I talk about how, there's not much action in this. I don't prefer it or whatever, but this one has tons of action, but it didn't quite feel right because there was it was very, I think the show's done such a good job at kind of moving the story forward in this journey that we're on with Daryl Dixon. But not a whole lot of that happened in this episode because it was so action packed. So even though I really enjoyed it because of that, I felt a little bit, like it fell short for me. Like I was missing something because the story really didn't move forward, and to remind everybody where we are with episode 4 of Daryl Dixon, Daryl Dixon is kind of tied up with a nun and this young boy that the nun is kind of referring to as a savior of humanity. And he needs to get this young boy to a destination to basically allow him to do his magic and save the world, kind of, for lack of a better way to describe it. And then in episode 2 and 3, Daryl kind of meets up with some shady characters. One, it's kind of just this side quest and saves these kids. And then the other one, he meets up with what we find to be the nun that is with him's ex, and he's a shady character. So at the end of episode 3, we find out this ex of the nun is the father of the boy. So he wants to keep the boy. We kind of get that planning in the works. And of course, Daryl his spidey senses tingling. He knows this guy's bad news. So, and what complicates matters at the end of episode 3 is that the boy overhears the nun and Daryl talking about her ex being the father of his father, and the fact that his mother is the nun's sister, and his father cheated on the nun that's currently with him with the nun's sister, and that's how he's, so it's very complex emotionally there for the final scene. So that, of course, makes the young boy jet. He's just out of there. He's like, you lied to me. This is madness. I don't want to be here. And he leaves. So he runs away. So that's how episode 3 ends. So in episode 4, we kind of get this adventure of Daryl and the nun, the group. I guess there's 2 nuns left, and Daryl searching for the boy while her ex is also, and I guess I could say names, but I feel like sometimes it's easier to describe the people for a more memorable reason than saying the boy's name is Laurent. I can't even remember the nun's name, actually. That's probably why I do it too sometimes, so I don't have to say. I can't even remember his name. What's the nun's name? Do you remember, Mike?
I don't even remember.
And then the ex's name is Quinn. I do remember those. So anyway, that's why I'm just saying descriptors instead of actual names. I think it kind of maybe, I don't know, resonates better. I don't know. We'll see. Give me feedback in the comments below. But anyway, so at the beginning of episode 4, we've basically got multiple groups looking for Laurent. And they are, of course, coming across each other, fighting. The boy is, I guess actually not trying to be found. because he's still kind of upset. Then actually the nun's his father, gets a hold of him first. So then Daryl and the two nuns group up with the new group that they've grouped up with already in Paris to then kind of have this complex attack strategy on the boy's father's bar. He's got this one great spot in the middle of this zombie apocalypse world in the middle of Paris, France, that is awesome and everybody goes to. So he's got power and influence. So it's basically, this whole episode is a battle between Daryl and the groups he's teamed up with the nuns to find the boy to get the boy from the boy's father and all his minions that he has because of this bar. And like I said, this is an action-packed episode. It's classic Walking Dead type action-packed, if you know what I mean by that. It's kind of, I feel like Walking Dead has a different feel when it comes to action-packed. It's not real speed. It's just kind of things kind of happening a lot. It's kind of a hard thing to describe in my opinion, but I feel like Walking Dead action definitely has a feel. Do you know what I mean by that, Mike?
Yeah.
So then they then accomplish their mission of capturing or saving, I should say, saving the boy. And then we wrap up this episode and it gets complicated again. And I actually I was hoping you would have been completely caught up, because I had a question for you about an opinion on something I can't exactly understand. I'm sure I'll be able to see other people's reviews that happen at the very end. So once they save the boy, and literally Daryl, the two nuns, and the boy, and one guy from the other group they met up with in Paris, they actually have a boat. And Daryl's like, okay, we're done. Let's go. Get in the boat. We're out of here. And then all of a sudden,
his whole goal is to get back to the States.
Exactly. So they got a boat. They got the kid. They got the nun. Everybody's there. And Daryl's like, let's get in the boat. Okay, we did it. Let's get in the boat. And the nun's like, actually, she wants to stay with her ex. And there is a little bit of an explanation, and that's what I feel like maybe I'm just not tracking, or, that I was going to ask for some clarification from you, Mike. But basically, in a nutshell, the what she says is, okay, you and the boy still need to head north to a place called the Nest, where the Nest is where the boy's final destination, where he can do all his stuff. Incidentally, there's a little bit of magic going on in this episode too. We actually see zombies getting ready to kill the boy, and then the boy prays, and it makes all the zombies kind of scatter. So it's, I shouldn't call it magic. Maybe that's a little sacrilegious, God's power influenced the zombies for the sake of the boy, I guess.
It's kind of reaffirming what the
nuns think he is.
That would be her. That would be his aunt. She would be his aunt.
Yeah. I should say that.
What the way she feels about him, because like Daryl's just like, he's just a kid. He's just let him be a kid.
Yeah, and actually, the only one that sees the boy do that is Daryl. So,
that's cool.
Yeah, so it's a pretty cool moment, But anyway, so at the end, his aunt, the nun, is like, you guys just get in the boat and go. Take him to the Nest. So the two nuns stay behind, and she says something like, the only way the boy's going to get there is if she uses Quinn, the boy's father, to create, ways to make things happen. Like there's some place that I feel like she's saying is like a barrier to his journey, that the only way she can down that barrier is by staying back with Quinn, but Daryl's taking the boy. And, essentially by the time he gets somewhere, she's going to be using Quinn's influence to then make that a passable place, which without staying with Quinn, it won't be a passable place. Something like that, but like I said, I'm not exactly tracking with exactly what she meant by that. So I can't wait to get your input once you watch that. And incidentally, there's another moment where Daryl's getting ready to kill, like he doesn't like Quinn at all, of course, the boy's father. And he's getting ready to kill him. And the only reason he doesn't kill him is because the boy is standing right there. And he looks over at the boy, and you can tell he's got this, angel on his shoulder saying, "Don't do it. Don't do it. The boy's right there. He'll never forgive you, blah, blah, blah." So basically the boy just being there and watching, his father and Daryl fight prevents his father from dying. So whenever the end comes and the lady says, "You'll never make it unless I go back with him," I was thinking, well, it's a good thing Daryl didn't kill him then.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you need his influence somewhere down the road.
Yeah, exactly. So it was.
He's such an unlikable character too.
Yeah, he is. I can't decide if I hate his acting or that's the way his character is supposed to be more,
Yeah, I think his acting's good because since the first episode, he was ready to leave the sister behind. It's like, man, that guy's despicable.
Yeah, he is a pretty despicable character. But so anyway, I was telling Jesse last night, that I'm really digging Daryl Dixon. So are you feeling that now you haven't really said anything because we hadn't had this conversation on the show since you started watching it. How are you feeling about overall? And did you want to say anything about the first 3 episodes that you have watched?
Yeah, I like it a lot. I'm enjoying it. And it's funny because it kind of has that Walking Dead feel, but then like in the 3rd episode, when there's that huge underground club that Quinn owns, it's like, holy cow, look where what we were used to in The Walking Dead, and how civilization was completely collapsed and everything. And now here they're getting back to the same old thing. We've got this club where people are dancing and drinking and partying and stuff.
Yeah.
In the meantime, they're, up on the surface, there are walkers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those acid walkers are almost like,
oh yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah, I don't even know. Have I even mentioned the acid walkers at all yet to this point? I don't think
so.
Yeah, so there's walkers that when they're kind of like aliens.
Yeah.
The classic aliens, they've got acid flowing through their veins. So when you kill them, they can also mess you up by bleeding on you or whatever. So.
And Daryl used that one to get through the door that was all blocked by the vines.
Yeah,
he got that one and just smashed up against it, and it ate through the vines, and they got through. So yeah, I don't know what's up with that acid blood.
Yeah, this is why obviously I need you guys, at least one of you, to track with me, because I didn't mention that either, but that was such an epic moment. Because at first I was wondering, what's he doing? While I was watching the episode, I forgot about the acid. So when he first did that, I was thinking, what is he mad at this? He's just taking out his frustrations on a random zombie. Like I didn't know there was purpose to it after it burnt the door and he was able to get through it. I was like, oh yeah, genius.
Yeah.
And then I think you had a interesting comment about the long guns instead of some modern weaponry, right?
Yeah, everything's like black powder and 1800s. Where's the modern rifles? Now they have pistols, they have modern pistols, but all the long guns are. So I'm wondering. It's like I don't know what France's stance is on guns. I know, Australia, everything was turned in, but I don't know about France. Why don't they have AKs and stuff like that available? Even the bad guys. Bad guys always have guns you're not supposed to have.
That's the whole problem with gun control. The bad guys will still have them. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But
right. So it's just really interesting that in that aspect, they've taken leaps backwards in firepower. It's strange.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that either until you sent me a text when you were watching it, and I didn't have an answer because I was like, yeah, that's a good question. I don't know what's going on there. I tried to kind of search as to any kind of reasoning I could come up with. So I got nothing. That's a very good question. So if anybody's got any opinions or thoughts on that, comment below and let us know, because we need help on this one. So apparently,
Yep.
Even if it's just speculation, we're interested. So anyway, Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon is in my opinion really good up to this point. I'm definitely enjoying it up to episode 4. Aside from one moment that I was scared for a minute in episode 3 that I I was thinking, oh, what, you didn't comment on that, but the zombie band, didn't you think didn't it seem out of place at first or what?
Yeah, it didn't. It kind of made sense when you see who created it, who put it all together.
Uh-huh.
It's like that guy's simply lost his mind.
Right.
So, but if you're gonna lose your mind, I guess being that creative is a pretty good way to go.
I guess, yeah. So I give up to episode 4 so far a solid 8.5 for enjoyment. I think I've kind of said I'm going to split up my reviews. 8.5 bags of popcorn, enjoying it. Maybe 7.5 for the quality, because it's not perfect. It's, well, neither is enjoying it either, but I'd say 7.5 for a quality of the show. Maybe a few writing decisions, is dialogue stuff, like that's all, little stuff, and the zombie band. So then second up, which is usually my final because it's the biggest show of the week, but it's not this week. I've got the Ashoka finale, and you'd think that since it's the finale, it'd be the big dog on the block, but not today. We'll get to that next. But Pat is back because Mike has not dove into Ashoka at all. So thank God you're here, Pat. Did you watch the finale?
Of course.
Okay, thank God.
I was hoping he would say yes.
Me too.
Saying, no, I haven't got to it yet.
He's obviously been very busy this week, so I was thinking, God forbid.
Yeah.
All right, Pat, we know the way that I like to do it. Please give us your thoughts and input on the finale of Ashoka.
I thought it was wonderful. I really liked it. There's always, of course, going to be some nitpicks. And we're kind of left back where we started. It's kind of, we traded some people for some other people, and I'm sure you'll get into that in more detail. But overall, as a series or a season and the finale, I enjoyed this show very much.
So yes, I think I might tone down a little bit. I did enjoy it. I don't know if I'd say very much. And then of course, butts are incoming. Butts are incoming. But anyway, so my biggest beef, well, I'll just talk about the episode in general. And thank God you're here to correct me and point out anything I fail to mention. But we start this episode with, and I kind of foreshadowed this in the last episode of Comics and Collectibles in the Crawl Space, how Thrawn didn't use his seemingly genius tactic, because Thrawn is a genius tactician. Thrawn is a genius tactician. That's his thing, right? But yes. He didn't use that genius tactics ability, in my opinion, in the previous episode, because in my opinion, he was using his forces as a diversion, apparently, to attack all the good guys that are coming after him, and he's aware of it, so he could have time to get everything inputted in his machinery to be able to escape the planet. But of course, he calls his forces off before he's done. So I'm like, what the heck? Why are you not going to at least wait till you're done and ready to go to call your forces off? That was my beef with last episode. And before I continue on, Pat, what'd you think about that? Didn't that kind of not make sense to you, or what? How'd you feel about that, or didn't you care?
Yeah, I think I just thought he was to the point where he was ready to go. I had a bigger nitpick with his delay tactics in this episode.
Okay, good. Okay, so you're kind of tracking with me, but
yeah.
So here we are again, like I said, with that foreshadowing moment from none other than your fourth or fifth favorite podcasting host. The good guys are coming, and Thrawn ain't quite ready to go, so they've got just enough of a window to stop him before he can go, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know I can't remember actually whether this was an intentional new tactic, or whether this was just incidentally happening and a convenient usage from Thrawn to, or not Thrawn. Thrawn's not actually doing this. Morgan is being completely made a witch. We already thought she was a witch, but I guess she's going to be is equivalently powerful to the rest of the, they're all Night Sisters, Pat. So what do you call Morgan versus the other three superpower actual witches looking Night Sisters? How do you differentiate them, aside from obviously we can tell by watching the show, but how would you describe them to someone that hasn't seen the show? Like, what do you think the big differences between those two?
I would say that Morgan was more, she was in the order, but then the hierarchy was right as we see it now, are there's three main Night Sisters with Thrawn. So she wasn't up to that level, I guess I would describe it.
Okay, so then that's what we see in this episode, right? Is they basically bring her up to their level, which of course, I don't know why she couldn't look exactly the same and you just give her power, but giving her their power makes her ugly as sin. I shouldn't say ugly. Makes her look, she's got black, her eyes turn black and she gets all kinds of new scar paint or whatever on her face. And she becomes more witch-like or whatever you want to call it. And then they form this, what's the name of the sword? Do you remember?
Sort of talisman, because she was like the head Night Sister, I think, in the Clone Wars.
Okay. You said the sword of the talisman?
Talzim.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Something like that. Yeah.
So they bring, I don't feel like they created it. Felt like they were kind of bringing it into fruition from somewhere else, right?
Seemed like it, yeah.
Sword of Talzin to then give Morgan a sword. So now Morgan's super powerful, like the head Night Sisters, and she's got this super great weapon. So then, of course, right out the gate, as soon as Thrawn is realizing, okay, wait, this is a little bit closer to call than I thought. Ahsoka and Ezra and Sabine are all inbound now. They could possibly stop my plan. Oh, and incidentally, the first tactic they used to try to stop them is Rain of Fire. And true, the first thing I thought of was, Thanos and his ship, right? The raining fire, blasters from space to the ground forces. And of course, Ahsoka and their dog horses and everybody are, juking and jiving these super laser blasts coming from the Star Destroyer. That's his first tactic. But of course, they all make it right through there. So then Thrawn's like, okay, Morgan, since you are super uber powerful now, why don't you do me a favor and go distract them so I can escape? Right? That's kind of how it went, Pat.
Yeah. And that's the point where I told my wife, I said, I wish they would have cut the Thrawn when they were doing the Night Sisters ceremony. He'd be like tapping his foot and rolling his eyes. It's like, we really have to do this right now? We're trying to get out of here.
So what are you thinking then? That so you're saying during the ceremony, you're thinking in he would have been impatient, but are you thinking after the fact, whenever he used Morgan as the next diversion for the heroes coming to stop him, do you think he was kind of thankful that the ceremony had happened already at that point then?
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously the out for what he did there is, I guess he wanted her to take care of the Jedis once and for all.
Yeah. Okay, which this brings me to my biggest beef I should say so far, because I got a couple, but and I don't really consider this a nitpick, but you might. I don't know. We'll see. So Ahsoka, Ezra, and Sabine are coming into the room, and they're all like, whoa, Morgan's standing there, all ready to go. So they're all like, whoa, Morgan's here. And then, of course, in true, let's make this mano a mano, because it's got to be a fight rather than them all three just attacking her. Ahsoka's like, hey, and I realize there's a time crunch here. That's not my beef, So Ahsoka, again, because of the time crunch, mostly, I'm sure, is like, Sabine, Ezra, you go. What'd she send them to do first?
Well, you're skipping over the first part because they sent the night troopers first.
Yeah. I'm sorry. So so they send the troopers out to fight them first, and they make pretty quick work of them, which was a pretty cool battle though. And then Ahsoka decides to do a crossover with my other new show that I review every week, and make zombies out of, and I mean Ahsoka the show, not Ahsoka the character. Ahsoka doesn't make zombies, but Morgan uses her newfound power. Or was it just the Night Sister leaders in general? Well, whoever.
Yeah, they kind of made a comment that these troopers volunteered, that they were going to be undergoing this process,
So the troopers all become zombies and wake up to do battle again, right? And
Yep.
they still fail in grand fashion. And I would actually argue that once they were zombies, they seemed to die quicker, ironically enough, and they were using Walking Dead tactics, I guess, right? I mean, they were going for the heads. I feel like I think Ezra had that one shot up the midsection of the zombie, and it didn't do anything to it. It didn't even make it stop for a second. So that must have been the click to them to, oh, we got to take these guys' heads off or kill them with their destroying their brains or something. So then they make pretty quick work of the zombies as well with some decapitations and some headshots and stuff, right?
Yeah, I said this is bad timing to have at Disney because they should be doing some chopping with those sabers of theirs,
Right, yeah,
not just glancing blows off the armor.
Yeah. So then again, after they beat the zombies, then they come into the area where Morgan's just standing there ready to go, right?
Yeah, it's like the last, Thrawn's last stopping point to stop the three Jedis to advance to the Star Destroyer.
Right. Okay. So now I ask you, so when the three of them come in, Ahsoka sends the other two of them. The idea there just to go get Thrawn. Don't let Morgan distract you. I'll distract Morgan. You go get Thrawn, right?
Yeah.
But here's my problem, okay? Morgan's job. What were we going to say, Pat? I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, go ahead. I pretty much know what you're going to say.
Okay. So Morgan's job is to stop them from stopping Thrawn, right? That's she's got these new abilities. She's got this new epic weapon. Thrawn has sent her, hey, you need to do this for us. You need to, for the Empire, So she agrees, of course. And it seems she was kind of like hesitant with that though, too, right? She was like, hey, I just got these new powers. I don't want to die already, right? That's kind of the way I took it when he asked her to do this for the Empire. And she kind of looked at him like, what? You want me to go fight 3 Jedis? What? Right. So anyway, my problem is, and writing again, Filoni. I need Filoni's number. I need to text this guy. or he needs to text me before he ships this stuff. But anyway, I know I'm being cocky, but anyway. Just to have her at least pretend to try to stop Sabine and Ezra. She literally is standing there, and Ahsoka doesn't even have to start fighting her yet to distract her. She's literally still in, good, the bad, and the ugly distance, kind of looking tough stance, ready to fight, like, waiting for high noon, while Ezra and Sabine are slowly creeping behind her, and they aren't even, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they were trying to be sneaky, and that's why Morgan is stopping. Morgan actually looks over his shoulder and watches them just walk right around him, right?
Yeah.
What the heck, Pat? What the heck?
I think we've seen this in various movies, TV shows. It's just sort of a trope, that easily you think in your mind, 3 Jedis could easily dispatch 1 Night Sister much more quickly, than a one-on-one match. But it's just television movie writing, I guess. They want the showdown.
I get what you're saying, and I can see where you're coming from, but here's what I have. Here's the easy fix. It's literally another 10 seconds of dialogue and visuals. Here's all that had to happen, okay? She at least turned to one or the other of them, or maybe both, tried to, backed up to the doorway or something to at least pretend that she was going to do her duty, which is to stop the 3 of them from getting to Thrawn, even if Sabine and Ezra aren't going to fight her. She can at least pretend that she's going to try to stop them, and maybe at that point Ahsoka throws her lightsaber, or she comes charging at her, so then she has to focus on Ahsoka in the midst of battle, and then Sabine and Ezra go. You know what I mean? That would have made logical sense. But the way I thought it was so annoying, the way they did it with her just not even in the midst of battle. She's still in, mano-a-mano, given the intimidating stare phase of there's no action yet. and she just lets him walk behind him. No problem. I felt like a little bit of either, take up her literally Ahsoka distracting Morgan by attacking her, and then they sneak behind, or something, just anything to make it make sense. That was annoying to me. So anyway, so then we get, of course, Ahsoka and Morgan one-on-one, and man, I'm gonna side with Tyler on this one. Tyler's like, he doesn't understand why lightsaber battles in the prequels, which was, what was that, 20 years ago now, look better than lightsaber battles in 2023, because it just looked very stiff, or slow or something. There, it just didn't seem like this grand epic battle like it should have been. How'd you feel about the battle between Morgan and Ahsoka?
As much as I like Rosario Dawson, I don't think her sword fighting skills are very good. She doesn't seem very quick, and reactive. I overlook it because I like her, and I think she's done a good job as Ahsoka. But yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from.
And I would definitely admit this is a nitpick too, because overall I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, it was Tyler. Like I said, Tyler's put this in my head and it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just like, why can't they make these better? I don't know, but it was whatever. It was fine. Like I said, I admit it was a nitpick, but
yep.
So and then here we go again in true what's his name, Marok? What was the guy that the snake eyes?
Yeah.
Marok.
Yeah. Yep.
In true Marok form, as soon as we get this new baddie with a new ability, and I wasn't a big fan of Morgan, but I imagine some people were. I don't know, people like witches and stuff, whatever. I imagine there are Morgan fans out there. I was a Marok fan, and whenever that happened, I was like, what the heck? He's dead already? What? Why do they want to Darth Maul us all the time? Make us fall in love with a character and kill him in the same episode,
Yeah.
That's what I thought in episode 1. Of course, Darth Maul came back. Spoiler alert for anybody who didn't know. But anyway, then Morgan gets killed by Ahsoka in this very scene. So that's ironic too, in the way that, she just gets this new ability and new weapon that makes her badder than ever. And she gets killed, quicker than she ever did before when she wasn't as bad, because Ahsoka and Morgan fought at the end of The Mandalorian too, right? I mean, this isn't their first time, right?
Correct. Yep.
So she seemed to get beat easier with more power and a better weapon than she had before. It was, again, I know that's a nitpick. Just I noted the irony on that one, So, so then we get to behind the action, and this is kind of all happening simultaneously. That doesn't happen, and then something else happens. So it makes sense that Ahsoka is obviously being distracted by Morgan, while then Sabine and Ezra come outside to where the Star Destroyer's getting ready to lift off, and of course, timing's. It seems to me, Pat, I'm gonna beat this like a dead horse, however that phrase goes. Sorry, Peter. But anyway, if they would have, this is my point. If Thrawn would have just kept them distracted, seemingly for 5 more minutes on the battlefield last episode.
Yeah. Sure. That's heightened attention on a TV show.
I know, but when I thought that. Since I made that point in the last episode, I was thinking, see, if he'd have just had them fight for 5 more minutes, he would have been in the clear.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
But yeah, I know it's gotta be written. I'm not gonna give Filoni trouble here, because it's got to be written that way for the excitement. I get it. So anyway, so it's perfect timing to where they give us this real dramatic thing where the Star Destroyer's just far enough to seem like it's an impossible thing to get to. But just close enough to where Sabine, with her newfound skill with her Jedi abilities, can convince Ezra to, and Ezra actually says, we can't make that jump. It's too far. And then she goes, you go ahead and make the jump, and then I'll push you the rest of the way. And then she's like, I'll jump, and then you pull me in. That's her plan, right?
Yep.
So then first thing in my thought, I don't know what I'll get your opinion on this in a second, but first thing in my head is, daggum, Sabine got good all of a sudden. I feel like it was just 2 days ago, as far as, this show's timeline is concerned, where she couldn't even move a mug on the table or whatever that was. And now she's force grabbing lightsabers from a distance and force pushing Ezra to the Star Destroyer. Her skills, she went from novice to seeming close to expert like that. How'd you feel about that?
It didn't bother me too much. You can kind of write that off as kind of like she's finally getting it, but maybe not to the point where we're at here, where she can give Ezra such a push, but I can forgive it.
Yeah, I forgave it too, actually, believe it or not. Again, I'm just doing this for the sake of I'm a professional. So go ahead, Pat.
Here's the force power nitpick that I hate, that I always think of this.
Okay.
Is whatever happened to the fast running Jedi from episode 1? How come they never do that anymore? Even though it looked silly actually in episode 1. No one ever seems to remember that they have that fast running power.
Yeah. Not only has it never been seen again, but it's never been spoke of again, except from fans.
Maybe we're better off that way, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. Whoever decided that was going to be the case in the Star Wars universe apparently agrees with you, because I remember that happening. And when it happened, me and Tyler, of course, I can't, Tyler was 11 at the time or whatever. I was like, or maybe he was younger than that, but I looked at it, I was like, oh, did you see that? And it was such literally a split second in episode 1 that, unless you're a big kind of anal fan about Star Wars, you might not even be aware of it, but yeah, whatever happened to that. So anyway, then the plan is half executed, just as Ahsoka, or as Sabine said it would. Ezra makes the jump, and here's the other thing. Again, and I'm just nitpicking. I know. Don't hate me, Pat. Don't hate me. But the other thing I was thinking is, man, Ezra is trusting to a novice to just make that jump, right?
Yeah.
So then Sabine, he's like, it goes about halfway, and he seems to start to fall. But then Sabine, in the dramatic fashion, of course, pushes him right into the back of the Star Destroyer, and then Ezra turns around just like Sabine planned, to get ready to pull Sabine in when she makes the jump. But then she looks at him and she's like, peace, I'm out of here. Well, I know I'm oversimplifying that. She turns around, she sees Ahsoka's now in trouble with more troopers, so she has to make the decision to go be with Ezra to help him with Thrawn, or go back and help Sabine. And obviously this is a fairly quick moment, but you can see the gears, going in her brain as to what she's going to do. So then she basically decides to help her master, and abandons Ezra in the Thrawn ship. I say that laughing because this is actually the feelings I was having in the episode. I'm like, geez, oh man, this episode is all over the place. But so then she goes back to Ahsoka and essentially saves Ahsoka. Thrawn.
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
She got the speech earlier from Ahsoka that Anakin was a lot of things, but he always stood behind me. So that was kind of the, I think, impetus that getting her to connect with Ahsoka a little better. If they're not going to abandon each other now.
That's fair. Exactly. Okay. So then of course Thrawn with Ezra aboard just hyperspace escapes of the scene, and now we are officially, like you stated at the beginning, Pat, we are officially right back in the same spot we were in episode 1, essentially, just different locations.
Traded 2 characters for 2 other characters.
Yeah, exactly. Which is nuts. So what's up, your grandpa checking in? Hello. So yeah, man, I was just like, and before we even get into what happened at the very end, I was just like, what the heck? Literally, we are just, and arguably it's as far as math of people is concerned, it's exactly the same spot we were in before, but now it's worse because now the super powerful baddie and the second tier Jedi, not to disrespect Ezra, I love Ezra, but the second tier Jedi are in the regular galaxy. I don't know exactly what you want to call it. And now the best Jedi we have left in the galaxy and her newest, no, I shouldn't say newest, her apprentice, which just found her, obviously, her abilities, understanding whatever, I'm saying that wrong, but whatever. Now they're stuck where Ezra and the baddie were stuck, and now Ezra and the baddie are in the regular galaxy. So it's crazy, you know.
Well, we've got Luke on our side. Don't forget that. If you know,
yeah. I meant as far as this, as far as the focus characters of this.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm sort of thinking ahead about possibilities they could do. You know.
Right. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. Yeah. The whole heir to the Empire seems to be looming in everybody's mind, right? That novel, right?
Yep.
So then we do a little bit to get a little bit more nostalgia bait at the end of the episode with, of course, Ahsoka and Sabine. Oh, and first of all, Ahsoka and Sabine have to then again barely escape the temple that is filled with all these troopers that are still left behind to stop, the good guys. And Thrawn makes the decision to try to one last ditch effort before he leaves to try to kill them by just bombarding the entire temple and just destroying the whole area. All of his guys and everybody. What'd you say, Pat?
Night Sisters weren't too happy about that. They gave him a sideways glance on that too.
Yeah, exactly. So the whole temple's destroyed and everything, but Ahsoka and Sabine do manage to escape. And of course, where else would they go when they're left behind like this? But back with the rock turtle snail guys or whatever. So we're left in this episode with Ahsoka and Sabine living amongst the rock turtle snails, and of course, like I said, nostalgia for not only, this is kind of nostalgia for the prequels and the OG trilogy, when she looks over on the hillside and sees Ghost Anakin kind of observing her in affection of that she's still alive and she succeeded. Well, she didn't actually succeed, but he kind of, didn't you feel like the way Ghost Anakin looked at her, it was kind of like a positive, like he was kind of proud of her or whatever?
Yeah.
So we got, that's very reminiscent of the OG trilogy, but then for the fact that it's Anakin, it's, prequel nostalgia. But a lot of people, wasn't there an edition of the OG trilogy in Return of the Jedi where they actually put in Hayden Christensen for Darth Vader? Yeah. Which that's a whole nother thing. But anyway, so we got that. And then, of course, now Ezra is on the Star Destroyer. So I was actually kind of a little taken back by this. And I'm going to actually say it. This is my biggest beef with this episode. And I'm going to rewrite it for you too, Pat. So I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm going to rewrite it for you. It won't take but 30 seconds, which is my biggest point of why I think it needs rewritten. It wouldn't take that long. But anyway, so then we're wondering what's going on with Ezra and Thrawn. Of course, they've made it to the regular universe, whatever. And now we are in the Rebellion's fleet of ships, and we see, the Imperial shuttle ship come in, and of course, just boards the Rebellion ships like it's friendly. Let's just do this. I'm like, okay, well, what's going on here? And then it just lands in the bay with Hera and all of the other Rebellion troops, significant members, watching the shuttle to see who's going to get off. He gets off in a stormtrooper outfit. He's dressed like a stormtrooper. So now they all pull out their weapons. And they're all ready. What's this one stormtrooper going to do? You better watch yourself. They're all thinking, what the heck? And then, of course, Ezra takes his helmet off, and they're all like, yay! Pat, tell me, what did you think of that last minute?
I had zero problems. Sorry.
Oh, my God. Let me give you the problems.
Okay.
I know. We obviously it's okay if we disagree, but here's my problems. Okay?
Chopper knew who it was.
Yeah, Chopper knew. They had a couple options here. Okay. They could have either made I think the homecoming would have been much more realistically, logically effective if they just, as soon as the shuttle comes into their vicinity of the rebellion, they're over the radar. Hey, who is this? Whatever. My actual dialogue is going to suck, but you'll get the idea. Hera's like, gets on the radio. Who is this? What are you doing give us identify yourself or we're going to blast you or whatever the case may be. And then he's like, hey, did you miss me? Something like that. And then Hera's like, Ezra. And then they do the same. He comes in and lands. He doesn't come out, hiding as a stormtrooper. He just comes out of the ship and yay, reunion. That would have worked fine, Pat.
I hear you.
Right?
Yeah, I guess they just wanted the face-to-face thing, I guess,
Or here's another option for you.
All right.
His radio doesn't work. I'm just hearing viewers say, but Kevin, what happens if his communication doesn't work or he doesn't know how to use it because it's a rebel shuttle, whatever? Okay, it doesn't work. So now he rather than coming in like it's friendly and they're not afraid of it, he comes in barnstorming, and they're shooting at him, and he barely ekes and ekes, and then he kind of essentially crash lands in the bay, and then they come out guns like this, they're ready to go, and he comes, all injured out of the shuttle, whatever, and then takes off his helmet. Yay, it's actually Ezra. Yeah, that would have just give me logic. The fact that he was able to come into rebellion space without a second glance in an Imperial shuttle, the way he was actually able to land without any resistance from the rebellion. I mean, it's crazy. And then lastly, him coming out in the stormtrooper getup was just, I feel like, that was overdone. Like he shouldn't come out without your helmet on, and we would have gotten the reveal that it was. Here I am with helmets again, and we would have gotten the reveal that it's Ezra once his head got below the doorway. He was at. Why has he got to come out as a stormtrooper and then take it? And I know dramatic effect and all that. I get what I already hear you. I already hear you, Pat. But you see what I'm saying as far as the it make sense with dramatic effect. I think is possible. That's all.
Yeah. And my brain filled in that possibly some of that in between communication probably did happen. They just didn't show it, which can lead me to another point that you and Tyler have been talking about for 2 weeks.
Okay. What's that?
The whole point of contention you guys kept going back and forth on is the fact that Sabine wasn't filling Ezra in, and then they just totally left that all off screen.
Yes. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah. Apparently they had this conversation at some point because Ezra's completely up to speed and he understands what's going on, and they didn't show any of that. That's totally true, Pat. Definitely.
So they did talk about it. They just didn't show us.
Right. Exactly. And then you actually reminded me of another thing without even saying it. Sabine finally, thank God, decided to put her helmet on a few times.
Yep. I was trying to remember to tell you that too. Right before they destroyed the Night Sisters temple, she remembered to pick it up. So
yeah,
you must have watched the show.
Yeah, and they actually did something that I'm fine with too. There was actually in one of the battles, I can't remember because there was so much going on in this episode, of course. But during one of the battles, I can't remember which one exactly, but something knocked her helmet off. Which
the big night troop, the big bulky night trooper dudes.
Okay. So yeah, that makes sense to me too. I mean, if you get your helmet knocked off, I get it, So if you want to have Sabine without her helmet, have it knocked off and rolled out when she's battling, whatever. If you want it to actually be the actress's face instead of Sabine's helmet, fine. But that's give me that logic. I'm good with that. But yeah, she definitely wore her helmet a lot more, so that was pleasing for me. so again, we're ending this season with Ezra back with the rebellion, and Thrawn he goes to
Dathomir.
And
it's like that's where they're setting up shop.
That's where they're gonna be working from, and who knows what's going to happen with Sabine and Ashoka, because here's where the plot holes just get dangerous, Pat. They acted like it was so difficult to know where Thrawn was and to get to him that this whole season, I shouldn't say whole season, but 75% of this season was just focused on that. They needed to find where Thrawn was, and they needed to find a way to get there, right?
Yeah.
So they could mess this up completely in season 2 if they just find an easy way to save Ahsoka. And they better make it complicated. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
If they want to be logical, in my critical opinion, make it complicated. I want Ahsoka and Sabine to be saved, of course, and I want Snail Rock aliens to join the rest of the universe. I love those guys, but they better make it complicated so there isn't a major plot hole here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel like if season 2 could be potentially just them, on the planet, and of course we've got Baylan and Shin still on the planet.
Oh yeah, thanks again for that too. Yeah, Baylan and Shin. We don't even know what's Shin is. She joins up with the Tusken Samurai tribe, so Shin's with them now. And then we don't even know what's going on with Baylan. Baylan has obviously been foreshadowing during the entire season that he's here for a completely different purpose, it seems.
Yep.
And at the end of the episode, we get to see, I guess, a little teaser for what that purpose is. There's I don't know. I can't even remember.
So yeah. So if you remember Rebels, the diorama on the wall of the father and the mother and the son. That's what that was. It was the father. He was standing on like the father's hand. The son was still there, but the mother's statue apparently has been destroyed at some point. So
okay.
that, somehow he knows about this, and that's apparently what was drawing him there, is what we're to assume.
Yeah,
it's a shame that Ray Stevenson passed away, because I really liked him, the little bit that we got from him in this show, and I'm sad. I don't know what they'll do, if they're going to recast or just dump that storyline. I don't know.
Well, it was kind of cool that they at least got through the whole season. And obviously it would have been great if nothing happened to him, but they had enough to finish this season with him, so they didn't have to make a change in the middle of the season. But yeah. I think I thought about that. If they just cast a new character, as long as he's extremely similar to Ray Stevenson, that that's totally understandable. They did the same thing with Harry Potter from book 1 to book 2. Yeah, I mean they can do it.
It can work. If they do it right, it works. Hopefully it does.
Yeah, because that's a very interesting part of the story. Yeah, where Baylan's headed. What his plans. You know what? There's your answer right there. Hey Filoni, if you haven't written this yet, here's your answer. Whatever's going on with Baylan, which is obviously some mystery thing that it could be, but make it so uber powerful that he can get back to the regular galaxy. And then when he does, Ahsoka and Sabine and probably Shin too will all kind of tag along somehow. There you go. That would make sense for me, right?
Yep.
So anyway, overall, I enjoyed the entire first season of Ahsoka. We're on the same page there, Pat. I just got lots of, I got a ton of nitpicks, obviously. I got a couple major beefs. So as far as quality is concerned, I'm going to give the season overall a 6. Just because, like I said, the couple big beefs I've expressed, see the previous 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah.
But and a lot of nitpicks. I'm going to give this whole quality of the season a 6, but enjoyment factor, I'll go 7.5, 8, something like that. Because I'm a big Star Wars geek. So it's fine.
Well, here's the positive to that, Kevin. This was Dave Filoni's first live action show, so he'll probably improve from here on out, and
That's
maybe
true.
he'll listen to all our episodes, and he'll pick up on some of the points you mentioned, and he'll incorporate that into Ahsoka season 2, and that whatever he has going forward in this Thrawn sequel.
Yeah, man. That man oh my God. I probably wouldn't be able to handle it if I got a call or a text or a comment from Dave Filoni. That'd be awesome. I did want to mention one last thing in closing here. Lexi's chiming in. She says hi to everybody. Lexi's actually in California now. She's been sending me some Star Wars videos. She's at Universal, that's got the Star, or not Universal, but Disney. That's got Star Wars stuff. She's sending me all the video of that. I'm jealous as heck,
Yeah.
So my last thing I wanted to say about this is in true Disney form too, with all the Star Wars content we've got from Disney, I'd say short of Andor, because Andor was named Andor and it was solid Andor through and through every episode. But Ahsoka, I feel like it wasn't even really the main character of the show. You know, that Sabine, you know, I bet you if we timed things, Sabine got more screen time than Ahsoka did. You know,
Yeah.
I bet you it's at least, you know, a little bit more, but maybe a lot more, you know. But Ahsoka didn't seem to be the focus of this at all, you know. But anyway,
real quick too, I want to say that I thought Ezra was really good this episode. He really seemed like Ezra. You know, the lightsaber scene, building with Hu Yang.
Yeah.
In the whole, you know, he loves stealing stormtrooper armor and stuff like that. So all that stuff was spot on for me, and I thought he was really good in this episode.
I agree with that too. Yeah. What was the last piece? That whole scene he had with Yang, like you said, building the lightsaber. What was that one piece he needed? What there was something happened there. I'm forgetting.
Was it the emitter? He wanted the emitter like Kanan had.
What was the there was some triggering memory or something that made Hugh Yang remember what it was, because he felt like Hugh Yang didn't know what he was talking about at first, and then Hugh Yang found it all.
No, because they just started talking. Hugh Yang said he helped Kanan build his lightsaber, and they started questioning, "It's how long have you been around?" You know,
right? That's what it was. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah.
That was a really good scene, I thought.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And I'm glad you mentioned it, because that's, I guess, a nitpick I don't have, and I haven't said any, is Ezra. He was pretty spot on the whole time. Aside from the fact that we didn't get to see when he was kind of filled in. Aside from that, but that really didn't involve him. That's something that we were lacking, you know. So
in one comment, getting back to the shows that I was off, in him using the force push, I think that's just, you know, that's what he had to rely on. He had no lightsaber, he had no other weapons. So that he refined that part of his force ability was the push, you know, because that he had to use that. So that's how I saw that.
How he got so efficient with it, because that's all he had. That makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. All right, and then lastly, I got to watch Loki season 2, episode 1, the latest MCU endeavor. Pat, did you watch this?
Yeah, we watched it last night.
Thank God, because I got 5 million questions.
Oh no.
Pat's or Mike's like, oh man, geez. Mike, did you watch this?
No, I gotta watch season 1. Surprising nobody.
I think we need to watch it too, because we forgot a lot of things, I think.
Okay, thank you. You're on the same page as me. I was thinking that same thing too. I was like, man, I am so lost during this episode, which, in my defense, and if you agree with me, Pat, maybe in yours, I feel like you're supposed to be kind of lost. You aren't supposed to be settled at all in this whole entire episode. So so just to recap it, and it'll be like maybe 2 sentences, because I can't really describe much aside from the fact that in Loki season 2, he is back in the TVA, and he is, what's it called when he disappears and reappears? What's he doing there? He's
time slipping.
Yeah, he's time slipping left and right and every other minute through this entire episode, which the biggest craziness with this, I guess, in the TVA, well, actually, the kind of reminder about the end of season 1, which they did actually play for you at the beginning of the first episode of season 2. They reminded us of what happened in the finale. What's she Loki called again? Sylvia.
Yeah.
So Sylvia killed Kang, that version of Kang, and they send Loki back to the TVA. But since she killed Kang, that's what screwed everything up in all timelines everywhere going. There's all kinds of new branches everywhere. The TVA's probably basically got their hands up now, like, there's nothing we can do. There's so many different timelines. The world's out of control now. Everything's going to end soon, you know, kind of thing. While Loki is in the TVA time slipping, which has never happened before, so it shouldn't be happening. But apparently the TVA is now part of these separate branches, because then half the time when he's appearing, the people there know him and know what's going on. And the other half of the time, they're like, who are you? You don't know us. Stop talking to us. And then, I think there's like 3 actual different timelines, excuse me, that he keeps slipping in and out of. Right, Pat?
Yeah.
What were we going to say? I feel like you were going to say a thought, but you didn't. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Everything's tracking pretty well so far, from what I can remember. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Okay. So then he and what Morpheus, right? Or no?
Mobius.
Mobius. I always get Mephisto, Morpheus from Matrix, and Mobius. Now I'm totally mixing those up in my head all the time. But anyway, Mobius is, I guess he lands in the same timeline as him long enough. And then this is one thing again, questions. So he starts time slipping, but staying in the same like time.
Yeah.
So why is he time slipping but not actually changing times? That was like, why is this happening? And then of course, it is kind of a funny moment though when Loki's obviously going through this technically by himself because everywhere he goes, they don't. We'll get to my wife's chiming in. We'll get to her in a minute. Karen, thanks. He's basically going through this whole experience by himself, and everyone else is just like I said, they know who he is or they don't, until he gets on the same page with Mobius, where he keeps disappearing and reappearing, time slipping in the same time, and then they have this whole conversation. Loki's like, did you see that? Are you seeing this happening? How does that look? And then they get in the whole conversation about how weird it is. It's pretty funny, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So then since they're teamed up in the same timeline fairly consistently, I guess they come up with a major plan to how to. I don't think they're technically going to fix everything, but they're going to basically stop everything from collapsing altogether, right? When they meet up with none other than Short Round.
Right. They're trying to get a plan to stabilize Loki because he has information about Kang and Sylvie and so forth. So they want to get at least that part of it done, I guess.
So what's Short Round's character's name? I feel like it was a memorable name as well.
Ouroboros, OB.
Ouroboros. Okay.
OB for short.
OB, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So OB, they meet up with OB because he's kind of the fixer of the TVA of everything, right? I mean, and not like fixer of timelines, but fixer of items. He's like the handy guy that can fix everything. So they go to him for advice or some, equipment or whatever that can stabilize, like you said, especially Loki. And it's pretty interesting incident too, because Loki keeps time slipping in between when Obi's like, he's like 25 versus Obi's like 30 or 55 or something like that, right? It's like he keeps dealing with Obi, but in different states of time, right?
Yeah, well, I think they stay it's like 300 years.
Oh, it's that far?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
All right, my wife's chiming in right now, and I'm going to point this out. Karen put it up that she said he made a comment about you'll turn into spaghetti, which I thought was a nod to Everything Everywhere All at Once, right?
Still haven't seen that movie, but you're probably right. You're probably right.
Yeah. So OB was obviously do you remember the actor's name?
Ke-Huy Quan.
Ke-Huy Quan. So
Ke-Huy Quan.
I called him Short Round because that's where we originally know him from, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. But obviously he came to fame again and won an Oscar, I think, for Everything Everywhere All at Once. And they comment about, when you time slip into this one universe or something, Obi's like, don't you know you'll turn into spaghetti there? And which I thought was kind of a nod because I think there's a spaghetti universe and I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but there's a whole, because that's what Everything Everywhere All at Once is. It's literally about everything everywhere all at once. A whole bunch of different dimensions and universes and craziness. They have hot dogs for fingers in one universe and stuff like that, and they become spaghetti in another universe. So I thought that was kind of a nod for him being on this similar-minded show as a movie he just won an Oscar for. But anyway, so he made that comment about, so he seems to be slightly knowledgeable about multiverse time slipping events as well. So they come up with a grand plan to then stabilize. I'm glad you watched it so I can ask you. So I wasn't exactly sure how that plan was supposed to work. So Mobius is in the big, suit, and he's going to go out. And I didn't even understand what his objective was when he went out to that splitting time stream. And what was he supposed to do?
It's like he has to suck Loki out of the time stream at the exact moment Loki prunes himself.
Ah, okay. Is that why his hose was so thick then too? Is so Loki could literally be sucked into it? Is that why it was so thick?
I don't think so, but who
Okay.
knows? Who knows at this point?
But it looked very funky, but I actually loved it. You know, I loved the way that looked, and I loved when Mobius finally got confident and he said, "What did he say? You better hoof it or whatever. You better run hot or something." He goes, "I'm gonna run it hotter." How'd he say it?
Yeah, I can't remember the term he used either, but it was funny.
Yeah, it was very funny. So essentially the plan works, I guess. At the end, Loki actually finds Sylvie, and I actually said Sylvia, but I think you're right. It's actually Sylvie, not
Sylvie.
Sylvia.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, right.
So he actually finds Sylvie, but I feel like that's why I'm saying it worked, because the plan worked, but it didn't work because I felt like the plan in its entirety was supposed to be he would kind of get Sylvie, but all he does is find Sylvie, but then that's interrupted with then Mobius sucking out Loki or pruning him, whatever, from the time stream. So now Loki has all the answers he needs, like where Sylvie is and how this is going to work, but they didn't quite accomplish their mission. That's kind of what I was tracking. Is that
the confusing? I don't know if you can answer this or not. The confusing thing to me was, Loki was scrambling because he lost his pruning rod, right?
Yeah.
So he was trying to find one. I couldn't. It looked like he got hit in the back when he confronted Sylvie. Looked like somebody, zapped him in the back. And who did that? Or are we supposed to assume that was Sylvie from the front? I was a little confused there.
Oh, I took it as that was just what was happening with what Mobius was supposed to be doing.
Yeah, but Loki was supposed to prune himself with that rod, and he lost it, so he didn't have one. That's what he was scrambling around looking for. So I took it as somebody had to have.
So someone else is involved we didn't see, essentially.
Yeah, but I was confused why they didn't reveal that or make that more clear.
Well, maybe that's going to be the big episode 2 or later reveal. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's where, in kind of the Flash movie where it's kind of someone we know is there, or we just don't realize is there, but it's someone we're aware of that maybe is, since he found Sylvie right before that happened, is someone intentionally trying to keep him from Sylvie or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
But anyway, it was definitely fun.
Yeah.
But it was insane and tough to track with. Did everything we just said make sense to you, Mike?
Is Mike still here?
Yeah.
He's muted at least.
Mike? Yeah, it makes sense. I don't even need to watch the episode. I already know what's going on. I'm just going straight to episode 2.
Well, you probably could actually, from everything we said, although I wouldn't recommend it, because I am going to give this a glowing review and say it is definitely enjoyable. Definitely fun factor for me was a solid 8.5, 9. I'm going to say, I will admit my daughter probably influences me, because my daughter is a teenage girl. So she is sitting there screaming, but not in a distracting way, but she's just so uber excited. You know how when you watch a movie that someone else is just absolutely adoring every second of it, it's like, no matter how you feel, you can't help but vicariously enjoy it through them, so
yeah.
I had a lot of fun, and I think it is fun regardless of my daughter, but she may have taken it up a notch for me, so definitely check out Loki episode 1 of season 2 out on Disney Plus now. Oh, Karen didn't even ask me, what is this on? Disney Plus, as if people didn't know. But as far as quality of this, I'm going to still give it a high rating. I'm going to say it's a good 8 bags of popcorn. I would say the only criticism of it, and maybe it is just me, but the only criticism of it I'd give it is it does seem a little, and it could be intentional too, so this criticism might drop off in the future, is it does seem a little bit more confusing than it needed to be. Like, maybe, I don't know, explain something a little better or something. I feel like the more confusing something is, they need a little bit more dialogue to get you there, but that's just, it could be me. Overall, I think it's quality though. I think it's a solid 8. I thought it was fun too. So check out Loki, Disney Plus season 2. All right. My wife, the other thing she was saying was when Mobius wrote skin on the side of the wall, that was so funny. Wrote skin on the side of the wall. What was that?
Yeah. So OB told him that if this didn't work, his skin would be peeled away from his body. So that he got, that was all he could think about was his skin being peeled away.
Oh yeah. He kept saying that, and in all the different, they kept covering a bunch of scenarios. He kept saying it too, right? No matter what it was. Yeah.
So at one point, he just scrawled it on a piece of machinery or something there, and
man, I think I missed that part. I was trying to multitask and watch it, so I must have missed that part. I'm gonna have to rewatch it just for that. Yeah. That sounds hilarious. Because I definitely thought it was hilarious that no matter what scenario that Obi would give out, it always ended in Mobius' skin being removed. It was hilarious.
And it gave Loki a clue as to where he was in the timeline, because he got there. He was in the future and saw that he had written that in the past, So it was all time travel. What do you expect? It's confusing anyway. And then people have different ideas of what time travel can be and do. So it's always a mess.
Yeah. But like I said, still fun.
Yeah.
All right. So that's all I got this week.
Is that all?
It wasn't much. It was just a lot to talk about. With the finale and with a finale and a returning new season episode, I think we did pretty good here. So okay. Right, Pat?
Yeah, it was tough. It was a lot to cover, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
I know.
It would probably help if I watched them too.
Maybe, yeah. Are you ready though for your time in the spotlight here, Mike? You're ready?
Yeah, which one are we doing? What's next? I always forget what's next.
Oh, you're supposed to have your pickup next. You didn't know?
Yeah, I was just waiting until it was over to put it up there.
It's up.
All right. So here we are with this week's pick 3.
What was next? So, for you.
What? Anyway.
Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I literally froze there. So if I was saying stuff that was over you or whatever, everything and everyone froze for like 20 seconds there. I'm not even kidding. So, okay, I'm back. Sorry.
All right. Yeah, that's why you kind of blurred it in, but then cut out again. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah. Sorry about that. Whatever you saw. Sorry about it. Okay. Can you start over though for me? Because I love this. I love this segment. I want to hear it from the beginning. Can you start over?
Okay. Yeah. So here we are with this week's pick 3. We've got 10 covers of books. These are all coming out Wednesday, October 11th. If you can believe it's October already, into the second week. Out of 567 covers, I picked these 10 right here. We'll start off with Capwolf and the Howling Commandos #1 from Ryan Brown. And then Venom 26 from Cafu. The one name thing is that it's kind of funny. Wolverine #38 from Lionel Francis Yu. Superman Lost 7, Carlo. Oh, geez, these names. Paglion.
That's good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Pretty close. Right. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yep.
Scorch 22, Mike. I always say Deodato, but I think I've heard Deodato. But Mike Deodato Jr., Batman and Robin 2, K.L. New, and Amazing Spider-Man 35, Claudio.
Can't help you there, Mike.
You can't?
Nah.
Claudio Schirano.
Yeah. Sounds good to me.
I wish it was just a one-name artist here. Claudio.
If everybody only had one name, we'd be better off.
Oh, so better. All right.
Apologies for all of these artists.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that next week it's going to be dictated by how easily their name is to say. All right. Moon Knight versus Werewolf by Night #1, Nick Bradshaw. Creepshow #2, Raphael Albuquerque. and Wesley Dodds, Sandman #1, Riley Rossmo. There we go. That was a struggle.
Yeah. So yeah, this is in my opinion another quality week. I think there's 2 on here that weren't in the running for the top 3 for me.
Yeah, I had a solid 5 that I really liked this week. So yeah,
Nice.
Good. There was one that Johnny wished he could put all 3 votes on.
Oh, really? Well, okay. I can't wait to hear what that one is.
But I told him he can't, but I was like, that's kind of interesting.
yeah.
So maybe we'll see.
That is interesting. Good. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
All right. Let's start with and every cover had at least 1 vote, which is always good when that happens.
Yep.
All right. Coming in at number 3.
Nice.
We've got Superman Lost by Carlo.
Yeah, this one didn't make my top 3 just because, I've mentioned many times that negative space, I really like the negative space, but there's no outline of his body in this negative space. So I thought this would have been perfect if there had been at least like a subtle highlight of outline of body for me. And that's just for me to nitpick to get down to 3, because this definitely was in the running for sure. I like this one. What do you think of this one, Pat?
Yeah, this was one of the ones I talked about in probably my top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this one a whole lot.
Yeah. Awesome. Anybody reading this by chance?
No.
Seems like an interesting concept.
Well, besides this cover, a lot of the covers, Superman just looks so lost, I guess. It's so sad, so somber.
Yeah.
And here he's looking down instead of chin up, buddy, chin up. Come on, you're Superman for crying out loud. So,
right.
So I don't know what's going on in this story. All right, next up we have. Make sure I get the right one up there. Don't want to reveal the winner. We've got Cap Wolf and the Howling Commandos #1.
Nice. I voted for this one. Pat?
This was also in my short list, but
yeah,
again, didn't vote for this one either.
Nice.
It was a toss-up between this one and the Gary Frank cover for this, which is fantastic. I mean, it's Gary Frank for crying out loud. But the nod went to this one from me because it actually shows Cap Wolf. The other one was just Captain America fighting werewolves in the Gary Frank cover. So, and also this is the one that Johnny wanted to put all 3 votes on. He loved it.
Really? Okay. Nice.
Yep. So
well,
I have this cover ordered for Marcus, and then I ordered the Gary Frank for myself.
I like to tell this story to kind of reminisce, and this all happened on the on Comics and Collectibles, so I like to bring it up even more. That just that Ty bought me the Cap with the Cap Wolf head switch out action figure, and I brought that up, and you reminded, and I shouldn't say reminded because I never knew until you brought it up about the Cap Wolf storyline back in the day for Captain America, which I'm in search of those now. Ironically enough, I have so many old Captain America, I might actually have it. I just haven't organized them yet. But I'm so super interested in it now, and I love the look and I love the concept. But you were saying it was so controversial and all that stuff. Ever since this is played out with our podcast and then now it's coming back again. I love it. And obviously, since this is such a great cover, makes it even better for me. Yeah.
Yep. So it comes out Wednesday. We'll have to make sure we pick it up Wednesday and try to get it read.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll review it, or maybe you'll review it.
Do you know how many issues covered the Cap Wolf saga and the original Captain America, Pat? Do you know?
I'd say 3 or 4 or 5, something like that. It wasn't too long.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
I know I've already looked. Xcellar doesn't have we don't have those issues in Xcellar, so it would have to be in your collection. I don't have them as well.
You should text me the numbers if you have them handy. What the numbers are. But anyway.
All right. Yep.
All right.
All right, and here we are with number 1.
I would have put my 3 votes on this cover.
Yeah.
I would. It looks like you didn't have to, obviously.
Nope.
Wolverine 38, Lionel Francis Yu. Yeah, this one just crushed everybody.
Yeah. Deservedly so. I mean, I couldn't. Oh man, I couldn't love a cover more than this myself too. I didn't think of making that whole joke about 3 covers or 3 votes on one cover. I'd have made it too. It's so great. I agree.
You know, if he had Lionel Francis had so many good covers during his New Avengers run that featured Cap and Wolverine. This is right. He I've always liked his Cap and Wolverine, and this is right up there with him. This is a really good one, I thought.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Great.
So that's it. So go pick these up Wednesday at your comic book store.
I'll mention my 2 that I didn't make the top 3 was the Creep Show and the Sandman cover. I thought those were the only nitpick I have with the Creep Show is Negan's eyes. Look, I thought they shouldn't have been looking down at the whatever he is.
Yeah.
Is that the
Crypt Keeper? Yeah.
Or is it just a Crypt Keeper?
I'd assume.
Yeah, I think it's the Crypt Keeper.
Okay. But the Crypt Keeper himself on that cover is awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
And that Sandman cover is really nice too. But I figured the character wouldn't draw many votes.
Yeah. Well, both of those covers had the same number of votes. There was more than one. I mean, there were multiple votes on those.
That's good.
Yeah. The only 2 that weren't on my radar, one of them was Sandman. It was a character choice there that I didn't really. The cover looks cool, and then the other one is the Amazing Spider-Man Disney 100, which I think that's cool. But I'm just so over these Disney 100 variant things. So
Yeah.
I think that one's funny because it's actually, because those are all an Amazing Spider-Man.
Amazing Spider-Man.
This one is actually an Amazing Spider-Man.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
My third pick Scorched. So
what's your third?
Scorched. That got the fan vote for me.
Yeah.
Fowler picked that one.
The cover's great too, but what's that? Say it again. Sorry.
Valor picked that one too.
Scorched.
Okay. Right now Image is doing the Walking Dead homage covers, so a lot of the Image books have variants with Walking Dead theme.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
So that's where that's came from.
Okay.
Some of them are good, some of them are like, I was really surprised at how good this one was. A lot of them I'm just over it. I'm like, it's the same old thing, but this one was great.
Yeah.
And Medieval Spawn's my second favorite Spawn, so that helped.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
So that's it. Oh, and the Batman and Robin, I loved it because of the way Robin is standing on Killer Croc's shoulders. I just thought that was just so awesome how huge Killer Croc is there and big enough to where Robin can be fighting him by standing on his shoulders.
Yeah, that is cool. Yep.
And Nick Bradshaw on Moon Knight. It's I love Nick Bradshaw's stuff. I know Patrick's a big fan of his too. But he just didn't make it this time.
Yeah, that was another one in my top 5, but I didn't vote for it either.
Yeah, that was one I voted for.
Well,
but that's
another great week, Mike. Good job.
Yep, thanks.
All right, moving right along before we possibly lose our background producer. We might lose her early today, so we're trying to get this before we lose her. Little magic switch show change. Okay, Mike, are you ready for the next segment that you don't remember is happening? You ready?
I remember what's happening.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Wait, what's happening? All right, yeah.
I wasn't trying to dog you. That's just what you said at the beginning of the previous segment. So I was just going off you. That's all.
Number 3 already. You're muted, Mike. Unless it's technical.
There we go. It just unmuted itself. It's so weird that the segment introduction videos, they don't start right away for me, and they finish late. And
Yeah.
leave me late.
Yeah.
So yes, The Sacrificers number 3. This came out this past Wednesday, October 4th, and this, as Kevin said at the beginning of the show, this is my favorite book that I'm reading this year. It's only number 3.
Did you review 2?
I did 1 and 2 combined.
Okay, that's what.
Okay.
Weeks ago. Yep.
I was tracking with you on that, Pat. I thought he only did 1 as well. Okay.
I think I did 1 and 2. Yeah, I did 1 and 2.
Okay, you're probably right. Yeah.
Yeah, from obviously Rick Remender is a really good writer. Max Fiormara's artwork is just so great, and I think that's part of what I love so much about this is the artwork as well. So this is number 3. Number 2, we finished with the Sacrificers. Were all gathered, and they were getting to their final destination. And I can't remember how I had left the review. It was some of them were thinking that they were going to their doom. They're going to be thrown into a volcano. Some thought there was one, the final one they picked up, where it was an honor to be sacrificed, or to be a sacrifice, was think it was going to be like paradise, like everything's going to be great. They get up over the hill, and it seems to be paradise. It's just, amazing what they're seeing. So this one opens up with the Harvest Gala, which is the arrival of the lords in charge of every municipality throughout the region. And they're all kind of gathered, getting ready for this big gala. All the while, the Sacrificers are enjoying puppet shows and food, swimming, games. It's basically paradise for them. They're enjoying everything. And then these, I've got some internal why I talk about that, because the artwork so great, as you can see from the cover. But so this is the gala. These are some of the leaders arriving. And then we've got these strange, they're not clowns, but it's almost like a circus atmosphere of these a group of singing and rhyming circus-like people. They all jump out and cheerfully round up 6 of the lucky sacrificers. They're doing all this in rhyme, picking them all out and stuff. And they're all ready for inviting them to their own personal parade. And they're taken back, and they're having drinks and singing. And it's almost like a spa treatment for them all. And it feels too good. Everything just feels too good to be true. And you can, as you're reading it, and it's so, the way it's presented with everything's in rhyme, like these characters are singing this rhyme, and everybody's smiling, and like, okay, what's coming? You can just feel that the bad is on the next page. And you just know everything's just going to go terribly wrong. And
that doesn't look good.
Yeah.
So you see that, but when you see that, they're still singing and rhyming, and everybody's, all the sacrifices are still smiling. And unfortunately, the one character, the last one that was picked up, that had high hopes, that thought everything was going to be great, she was selected as well. And there she is, just really still believing that everything was fantastic. But that's all I'm going to show. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Because I recommend getting this. This is a must-have. Go out, get these 3 issues if you haven't. Wait for the trade paperback if you're that kind of collector or reader. But this is definitely a must-have. I can't recommend it enough.
Awesome.
How's this book selling? Is it hot? Is it hard to get on the shelves still, do you think? Or
yeah, I think it's fairly easy to get. I think it's still cover price. I think a lot of stores ordered a bunch just because it's Rick Remender.
Yeah.
I just got Sacrificers #1 for my LCS this week.
Yeah. So it's definitely readily available. I recommend it. The artwork, for the artwork alone, but everybody knows Romendo's a great writer. So it's so good.
And you
I
kept
felt terrible.
You kept calling these characters the Sacrificers, but they're the Sacrifices, right?
Spices. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I felt so bad as I'm reading that, and you can just feel it happening. It's like, man, it's something bad's happening, and when it happens, you're just gutted. It's like, holy cow.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I definitely want to check it out. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait till you do. I'd like for you guys to chat about this one.
Yeah, makes everything better to have people even if you disagree, you can talk with about what you're reading and watching. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, and then there's one line that one of the characters was saying to her is the little rhyme was, sit back down, don't make me say it twice. Today you make your sacrifice. And it's like, oh man. It's whenever she realized, things weren't as good as what she thought. So
yeah. Nice.
So
all right, well, you got that.
All right, what I have this week is The Right Project from Apex Comics. This is by Tom DeFalco and Ron Friends.
What? All right.
Yeah, this is a throwback comic.
Okay.
Good or bad? We're about to find out, at least from my point of view.
Right.
So this was successfully crowdfunded in late 2021. It's like I said, retro comic book style. It's basically about a scientist and his niece is sort of his sidekick helper. They create a program that can give mass to his computer generated holographic characters, constructs. And basically what happens is the government wants to take this tech away and of course use it, for soldiers or whatever, and he doesn't want anything. The scientist doesn't want to have anything to do with that. That's not his deal. It's not why he created this. So basically what it does is, it can create, workers, basically replace robots with like more human-like characters. But they're controlled by the program. Meanwhile, his helper, his niece, has a teenage video gamer friend who's always hanging around, and he's into tech, he's into video games. So he basically has been working on a copy of this software, and because I guess he's this amazing gamer, he tweaks the software and he can create a character that only he can interact with and then he can control. And so he creates this character we see on the cover, this Mr. They're calling him Mr. Right, I believe. And he's like a superhero. Whereas the scientists, his creations were all sort of robotic and lacked a personality. The video game or kid, he's all, he loves superhero stuff like that. So his character has this personality. He's a do-gooder. He'll do everything the right way, So that's basically the gist of this book. And, he sort of defeats the military people that were coming to steal the technology for the meantime. And there's actually two stories in this book. One is about the sort of the setup, the origin of Mr. Right and the kid, whose nickname, by the way, is Player One. That's not very original, I felt.
Yeah.
The other story is about a wrestling promoter that gets murdered, and Mr. Right tries to solve the mystery there too. There's actually another short backup story by Ron Lim, the guest stars. I guess Ron Lim and Tom DeFalco worked on another book for Image called Randy O'Donnell is the Man. You might have heard of it or seen it on the shelves. No, I'm not familiar with it, but it's sort of a crossover between Mr. Right and Randy O'Donnell. I should mention too that the inker for Ron Friends is Sal Buscema. So here's where we're gonna leave this. The artwork is really good. I enjoyed the artwork. You know, it's classic Ron Friends. You know, and with Sal inking him, it's all the better. It looks great.
So
The
this is
story,
I mean, Sal's currently inking this.
I don't know. I
Really?
don't know. Like I mentioned, this was originally kickstarted back in 2021. So
Right. Okay.
So the art, no issues. The storyline, you know, I have never been a big Tom DeFalco fan as a writer. It for me, and this is just me, it's too stuck in that retro style for me. And that's fine. A lot of people can find enjoyment out of there, but this there was no hook, you know. There was nothing in this book that made me want to come back to it. The character looked cool, but the story wasn't engaging enough for me. So I contemplated even talking about this book, but I think maybe I talk about too many positive books. So this is a forget it. The artwork is great if you're really into retro storytelling like Tom DeFalco likes to do. Maybe that you might enjoy it, certainly more than I did, but I don't think I will be looking for more issues of the Right Project in my future. So yeah, forget it for me.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Okay, so that I'm partially saying it's interesting just because I'm interested in what you have to say about everything, Pat. But then also it's interesting because what I reviewed,
Mr. Wrong, the Wrong Project.
I reviewed Jack Kirby's Star Warriors, starring Adam Starr and the Solar Legion, which is, of course, very retro, I guess technically, I don't know if I'd call it retro because this is a collection of this is a previously printed 3-issue series that Jack Kirby did in 1940 prior to actually joining with Joe Simon. And, of course, all the other things that he would eventually do. I should have wrote down who originally published it. I forget right now, but yeah, this was actually out in 3 issues. It only made it to 3 issues, and this book is all 3 issues.
Oh, well, that's cool.
And it's not very thick, and I'm going to show you why in a second. But it is 3 issues of a comic, and you can tell right where it ends and the next one started. And then at the very end as well, it also has a preview of what they call there's kind of bibliography, is that the right word, where they kind of describe when Jack wrote what and in what order and whatever, and they describe the final story in this book as kind of a prequel, like an origin of Adam Starr before he joined the Solar Legion, or created the Solar Legion, I should say. So this is technically 3 books with a preview, and it's not that thick, oddly enough. And I actually remembered this week to bring some interiors with me. I don't go ahead and clap. I know that's exciting, so the interiors. So essentially, and I don't know, you guys can kind of, again, correct my artistic language, but I consider this a black and white book. I mean, it's got red, but it's technically all black and white, the entire thing. So this is actually the first page of the second book in here. And this is, I think, the second page of the first book. I should have done those in opposite orders, but you can see not only the art and like I said, okay, if I'm not calling this black and white, what am I calling it, Pat?
Black, white, and red.
Yeah.
But you see what I'm saying? It's essentially black and white, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't know if there was another term you guys could help me with there, but yeah, I guess it's just black, white, and red then. Okay. So anyway, you can not only obviously see the art, obviously it's classic Jack Kirby, which I love. And this is very simplistic story writing too, which I don't have a problem with it, but unless you're a Jack Kirby fan, you might not find exactly all too interesting. But to run through it real quick, this is definitely a, I don't want to slander anyone, but this this is definitely like a Flash Gordon ripoff because, again, like I said, this was written in 1940, and I think Flash Gordon's like from the early 30s. I know it's from the 30s, so the fact that this is 1940 is obviously after the fact. So heavily influenced, and again, I say slash ripoffs because, and the only reason I guess I should hesitate on calling it a ripoff is because the Flash Gordon I'm familiar with is very similar to this, but maybe the original Flash Gordon in 1930 could have been a bit different, so it wasn't direct ripoff, just major influence. And I'd assume I love Jack Kirby. So I'd assume it wasn't a direct ripoff, but he definitely, I would have to say, was a big Flash Gordon fan. I guess in 1940, Jack Kirby was 23 years old. So, he was young and Flash Gordon was new at that point, so it was, I can only imagine I would be too if I were Jack Kirby, but basically it follows, this takes place in our universe, the first battles, the first book, they battle on Jupiter, and Adam Star. Actually, basically, what's happening in our universe is, of course, we've achieved space travel, and there are all kinds of bad guys, and they're pirates, and basically, the pirates become the bullies of the universe until, and incidentally, the bad guy in this book, his name is Black Michael. Mike, or actually, I think it might actually be, it doesn't actually say Black Michael, it just says Black Mike. That's his name, right? So Black Mike's the leader of the space pirates that are tormenting the universe for their own gains, of course. Adam Star is the first hero that's kind of risen from all of the people that have been attacked and taken advantage of by Black Mike. And he basically is, his first battle is won in Jupiter. So then he sets up a base on the moon of Jupiter, Io, and creates the Solar Legion. So then he obviously, because as soon as Adam Star beats Black Mike, then all kinds of people rise up and start fighting against pirates everywhere. So then he basically picks out the few that are awesome from all those people that are rising up and creates the Solar Legion. Their base is on Io. And then in story 2, he takes on this new guy. I can't remember his name because it's kind of a funky alien name. You have to read it a few times to remember. But he's on Saturn. So him and the Solar Legion are now fighting that guy on Saturn. And like I said, the action literally goes from him at the end of book 1, beating Black Mike on Jupiter, to then book 2 and him not only finding this other baddie on Saturn, but then him and the Solar Legion going to beat him. That story is told in like 3-4 pages. This whole, and that's another thing I wanted to point out too. These panels you're seeing, every single panel's like this, or every single page has got 2 panels. That's how I should word this, right? It's got literally just got 2 panels on it, every single page. So there's none of these differ per page to where even one page is a bunch of little ones, And actually, I'm going to backpedal a little bit on that because the prequel story at the end, that is kind of the origin of Adam Star, has a bunch of little ones. But all of the story about Adam Star and the Solar Legion, the first 3 books are all 2 like this. So very short, very quick. And then in the 3rd book, kind of a similar story again, but then it takes place on Mars. And it actually doesn't seem, it kind of left you on a cliffhanger, but then it didn't get any more issues. So it kind of ended there, So if you're a Jack Kirby fan, I would definitely say this is a get it, possibly a must have if you can really appreciate Jack Kirby for, of course, what he was in 1940, rather than comparing him to any quality stuff, of any recent decade. I love Jack Kirby, and obviously his history made me enjoy this book more than I would on its own. If you're not a Jack Kirby fan, this is definitely a forget it, because it is not quality. Again, the art is cool in my opinion, but the story is super simple. It's super short, and the art is obviously very simplistic, and obviously no colors, So if you ain't a Jack Kirby's fan, this is definitely, a forget it. Don't get it. But if you like Jack Kirby, I would say this is a must-have. And I'm happy I read it. I enjoyed it because, again, I'm taking myself back to envisioning what a young Jack Kirby would have been writing like. You definitely just have to put yourself in the right mind to appreciate stuff like this. And I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah,
because this is all pre-World War II.
Yeah.
Stuff, and coming out of World War II, everybody was changed.
Yeah. And man, this is all pre-Star Wars stuff too, and you can see, for all I know, George Lucas could have read this and been influenced by this. It's very, space opera kind of typical stuff you'd be familiar with nowadays. It's kind of old hat, but to think that Jack Kirby was writing this in 1940, it's special,
right? That's crazy.
Yeah.
So that on that page 1, what do they credit Tom Scioli as doing? How's his credit listed there?
Remixed, and what I think it is, because I looked it up real quickly. So Kirby drew a 5-page story, Solar Legion, in 10 Publishing's Crash Comics Adventures #1. And then, so what I think this was, what's his name? Tom Scioli. So I think he remixed this. So I think that's why the panels are just 2 per page. And that's what stretches it out. It's like, there could have been 4 or 6 panels per page to get to a 5-page story, but he took it and expanded it 2 panels per page to get it to what we're seeing here. And it looks like maybe he tried to do it, and initially had done it on his Patreon and try to get it published through that way. But so I think that's what his remix is doing, that part of it.
Okay.
And for anybody going out to get this sticker shock, this is a $10 book.
It's a $10 book. I was going to say that too. Yeah.
And I think that's why I didn't order it.
Right.
They're calling it spot color, Kevin.
Spot color. Okay. So do you say black and white with spot color or just spot color? Do you know?
They just call it spot color.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, very interesting. Like I said, again, if you're a Jack Kirby fan, at least get it. I would definitely say must have in general. And the sticker, I was going to mention the sticker shock because when I went to grab it, the price was hard to swallow. But I'm such a big Kirby fan that it just took me a second to get over. Yeah,
I didn't pick it up. I'm still not over the sticker shock.
All right, but that's what I read this week. So
all right.
It's been a busy week. This is my time of year. I keep saying, and obviously, Pat, you got a lot going on. It's man, priorities, and one of our reels that or shorts that we put out was Mike talking to Tyler about what his priorities are and how he has to have the priority to read a comic. Which is so true. Because man, if I waited to have time to read a comic, I'd never read one. It seems this time of year, at least for me, hoping to get everything done by Christmas. So I'm going to be really hitting home runs in January, February in my off season this year, so we'll see. All right. So Pat, you're up. Thank God you're back. I mean, and I didn't mean for my teaser, you're filling a void, Pat, to be insulting to Tyler. Obviously he did a great job to fill in, but no one can exactly replace Pat, right, Mike?
Right.
All right.
That's why I definitely don't want to do when we do the whole
switch it up
thing. I don't want to do the Horizon.
Yeah, I think I'm the opposite. I am mixed as to which one of y'all's that I want to do more, because I might be actually leaning to Horizon because I feel, I definitely look at them all the time and want them. But anyway, let's get back to it.
Go.
Here we go. Awesome.
Everything worked perfect for me.
Awesome. Maybe the tides are turning, whatever.
Somebody fixed the internet.
Yeah, and to echo Kevin's statement there, that was the first thing I have. Thank you, Karen.
Yeah, Karen's got to check out now. We will have no more background unless I remember to do it. Thank you for being here, Karen. She's got to go do life things now. So it's great to have you, Karen. Thank you.
I see how it is. She waits for me to come on and she vamoose.
Wait, okay, what were you going to say, Pat? Sorry.
I said the first thing I had written on my list was to echo Kevin, was to thank Tyler for holding down the horizon for me while I was away the last 2 shows. He did a lot of he didn't mention, I don't think he mentioned it was from, but it was for a lot of it was from Hasbro PulseCon. It's their big online event. So he covered a lot of it. I'll touch on a little bit of it, but also moving into so we don't have a blank screen. I'm going to talk about one of the things he mentioned first off the bat, but also in addition to PulseCon, right after that, we went right into Toy Fair in New York. So there's quite a few things. Some of it was repeated. Some of it was like sort of refined. We'll touch on a little bit of it. The big news out of Toy Fair was, traditionally Toy Fair had always been in the winter. I think January, February. COVID kind of tanked things for everything, and because all these pop-ups like Hasbro PulseCon, Walmart Fall Blast, or whatever they're called, Toy Fair doesn't hold as much weight as it used to. And I don't know if this reflects it, but starting in 2026, Toy Fair is moving to New Orleans. So I don't know. There's so many outlets, even just having the internet, all the information gets out there everywhere quickly. So it doesn't really matter where things are held these days, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I just wanted to touch briefly on a couple of things that Tyler mentioned. These guys really struck me. They're a really nice design, and the thing about them is they're the Lightning Collection Omega Rangers 4-pack, and this was a Hasbro PulseCon exclusive. And these are based on a team of Rangers created by the Boom Comics line from a few years back. And I could not find definitive information on this, but I think Dan Mora designed these outfits. He was doing the book at the time, and it just strikes me as his aesthetic, or I just think these Rangers look fantastic. I don't know.
Yeah, they do. I agree.
And it sort of turns out that these are, back in the old Mighty Morphin Power Rangers days, a couple of I think the Red Ranger, well, these guys right here, the Red Ranger, the Yellow Ranger, and the Black Ranger all wanted more money, so they left the show apparently.
Yeah.
And they used as an excuse in this comic to create, I think they said they were going to some kind of weather thing for weather conference for schools, how they got written out of the show. But the comic turned around and used it as they were on like a special mission, and they became the Omega Rangers, which I thought was kind of a cool thing. So
that is cool. Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. And if I didn't mention it, $100 for the 4-pack, so $25 a piece, which is kind of standard for the 6-inch Hasbro figures these days.
And I even like their weapons are pretty cool, except for the power umbrella or whatever they got. Oh no, it looks like an umbrella, but what? That's a hammer with an effect on it, right? It looks like an umbrella, right?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it looks like an umbrella.
But they all look cool. Yeah, I was definitely saying that to Ty when he showed. Was it these exact set that he showed?
He had a really cool graphic. I didn't include it because he did just like torso shots of them all lined up in sort of the darkness. It looked really striking. That's kind of made me gravitate towards looking into this a little bit more, because I think they're really neat.
Awesome. That's a good tidbit of history on that too. That's awesome. Because I actually recently watched a video where basically the actors and actresses involved with the Power Rangers were kind of accusing Sabine
Saban,
of intentionally making Power Rangers they were the way they were, so they could swap out actors and actresses all the time and it
Yeah.
wouldn't make a difference, you know.
Yeah.
So that
Yep.
was like a business strategy of theirs that the actors and actresses took offense to, because then they couldn't be carried on, you know, forever because they kept changing it up so much, you know. So
Yep.
anyway,
All right. So here's the other thing I'm going to kind of give a second chance on. I don't know if this is going to sway your opinion or not, but I know you guys were kind of all down on poor Tobey Maguire here.
right?
So I
Okay,
thought
let's
maybe these additional shots might sway you. I thought he looked a little bit better than what we had previously seen. I don't know. So there he is in the packaging. This is coming from Toy Fair. You know, so I don't know if this changes your opinion at all, but I don't think it looks horrible. I think it looks like him.
Well, I
That
think
looks a little more like him.
I don't think it looks horrible either, but yeah, I don't think that looks like and I think the biggest point is what Ty said, so I'll put you on the spot and ask you now. So you take this head and just put it on some random kid in regular clothes, would you be able to tell that that was meant to be Tobey Maguire?
I can see it. You know, I don't know. I don't. It's a valid question. You know, I don't know.
The biggest thing is they got his mouth, which his mouth is very distinct.
Yeah, he's got that thing under his lips going on. You know, and that chin. There's a headshot of all three of them. You know, the thing I'll say about that is, you know, I know Andrew Garfield has that big poofy hairdo, but it kind of looks almost comical there. I don't know.
Well, I definitely remember him having poofy hairdo, but I feel like since this is an action figure, it comes off thicker. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't. It looks a little hokey, you know, but
for sure,
it's still good. Yeah.
I don't know. I just was giving it like a little bit more like, because I thought maybe I don't think they changed them, but just, you know, different
shots,
different angle or something like that makes them look a little different.
Fair.
Okay, on to some new noise. This came out of new news. This came out of PulseCon also. This is the Marvel Legends Hasbro. This is called the Void Build-A-Figure Wave, and which includes Black Panther. Yeah, they've done a million Black Panthers. This is sort of that Christopher Priest era in the mid 90s with the gold accents. We got Princess Power from the Squadron Supreme.
Nice.
This is an interesting one. We got Namor from the J. Lee John Byrne run.
Huh. Okay.
A lot of people were like, "What the heck's up with Namor?" But it's a good representation of that, how he was depicted during that run. I think that was Jay Lee's first work here. I was at the first convention Jay Lee was ever at in America. He was on that book then. He was a nice guy. I've heard some differing opinions lately, but different people with commissions. But all right, anyway, so we got Namor, we got his cousin Namorita, which everybody was kind of head scratching and why they chose this version of Namorita, the blue skin version from the later New Warriors,
rather than the same run of that Namor, basically. Yeah.
Or the initial New Warriors run, because right along with Namorita, we've got Justice, classic Justice there, and we've got Vision. Nothing too exciting going on there. Just another Vision figure. And the final figure in this wave is Christar, which he made it kind of a big ruckus when they first revealed him a few months ago. Because he's sort of one of those weird characters. He was created by Marvel, but they licensed him to Remco to make toys back in the day. Everyone kind of thought that Christar was owned by Remco, but he's a Marvel property. They just never have done anything with him too much. So they're giving him a Marvel Legend, and a lot of people, those diehard Christar fans out there, figure. And you know, he's one of those things that kind of hard to gauge in package because he's translucent plastic, so it's kind of hard to get a good peg on what he's actually has going on there. Here's the lineup altogether, and like I said, this is the Void Build-A-Figure wave. The Void is the alter ego of the Sentry. So there he is, all
that's
weird,
ridiculous.
yeah, sort of that. He's translucent purple. with lots of tentacle scorpion type arms and coming out of his body, coming out of his head. Yeah,
That's awesome. Oh man.
It looks like those wax candy bottles with the weird purple jelly.
yeah.
Yeah.
You always wanted them as a kid, and then when you get them, you're like, what the heck did I buy these for?
I think
Hey.
in that previous picture, Namor actually looks better in the previous picture than he did in the first one.
Out of the
Really couldn't
package.
see him too well. Yeah, it looks way better out of the package.
Yeah.
I was actually going to ask too. This could just be me and what I focus on from time to time, and maybe mistaken. But is there something different about their stomachs in this line? Then did they rework their stomach? Because they all seem different.
Well,
you know?
so what they do is they reuse bucks. They call them bucks. That's basically the torso section, and they try to pick an appropriate buck for the figure. And it looks like a lot of these could be possibly the same buck, although Justice looks a little skinnier. But that's what you're seeing. They pick and choose. They improve over time. They sometimes they go back to an older one, but it just they try, like I said, try to get the best fit for the character. And there's also probably a cost thing going on there too. Maybe an old buck with 5 new type bucks, saves them money somehow. I don't know, but that's it's that in this wave. I think it's really standing out because we're seeing all these characters' abdomens right out there, out in front in our face.
Okay, so it isn't exactly new. That's why I'm noticing it.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And it isn't an articulation point. It's just because of that reuse or whatever.
No, there's definitely a crunch. They call it the ab crunch, so they can bend right there, like you're doing a sit up.
Gotcha. Okay, that's cool. Okay.
It does lend for more articulation. Like you go back to the original Marvel Legends from 5-8 years ago, they typically didn't have something like that. It would just be a solid torso. They wouldn't bend there.
That's pretty cool though. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So this, getting away from Hasbro, this came out of Toy Fair, and I thought this was really interesting. Back in the day, when you go to the store to pick out your Halloween costume, there was 2 main companies, Collegeville and Ben Cooper. And here's the Ben Cooper Frankenstein costume. Typically you get the mask and you'd get a little vinyl outfit with the character on that outfit. That always was a head scratcher.
Yeah.
Yep.
And of course it would have the name. You have to know who it is on the front of the costume. And there he is in package. And so NECA is doing a line of kids in Ben Cooper Halloween costumes.
Oh man.
Great.
That is so awesome. I love it.
Yeah, I thought this was a great idea.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're so weird, but
How
they're
many
so
are
neat.
there?
Here's the line so far.
Oh man, those are great. Yeah.
Man, I love it. Yeah, I love it.
They're gonna be too expensive for me. 1, 2, 3,
I'm
4,
sure.
5.
So keep in mind they're kids, so they're smaller figures from the NECA figures, usually in that $35 range. So I don't know if they're going to give a break because they're smaller kids, or they're going to pack them in a 2-pack. I don't think pricing information, packaging was shown at Toy Fair. This was just the initial go around. Here's a close up of the devil. You can see the kid. Then I think the mask actually comes off, so the kids can wear it.
Yeah, that would make it
You
better.
can see their face through the aisles.
Right. Yeah.
That's great.
So yeah, I just thought these were too cool not to mention. I really liked them. I don't know if I'll be getting them, but I like that they're out there and exist.
Yeah, if you could find one of those things that if you could find cheap, you'd grab them. But yeah, at least that's how I am. But these are a lot of fun. I like them a lot. That's awesome.
Yeah. So Kevin, I'm glad you spotlighted Jack Kirby, because NECA is doing a Jack Kirby figure in their Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figure line.
Hey,
because a character named Kirby appeared in the Mirage comics. So that gives them the chance to put them into their animated Turtles lineup. There you can see one shot of him, and there he is holding his little sketch pad with a turtle on it.
That's awesome.
again, here everything NECA was shown was kind of early, so no pricing, no packaging. So yeah, we'll see.
Man,
love
if I stumble across these on payday, look out.
I'm definitely going to be grabbing this. Yeah. If I don't even need to be able to afford it. I just need to be able to have access to the money this costs when I find it. That's all.
All right, moving on into McFarlane. I mean, it's been so hard being away. I've had this in my back pocket. I know you guys are just waiting for another Jokerized figure.
Uh-oh.
And here he is. White Knight Batman Jokerized. Only at Target.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna go ahead and have to stay at Target.
Yeah. No. Man,
Who
Todd.
keeps approving these? Who keeps
Any
approving
problem?
the Jokerized everything?
Well, you get a set of cards with this one at least.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Man. Do you think, obviously there's politics when you get as big as Todd is with action figures and stuff. Do you think he could possibly be being pressured to do this, or it was one of his ideas, or somebody else in his organization had the idea and this guy hadn't had an idea go through for a while, so he felt like he had to give him the nod, you know what I'm saying? With this, I feel like there had to be some kind of influence like that,
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
I
those
think Todd's
things
the
have to
kind
come
of
into
guy-
place sometimes, right?
What's that?
Yeah.
Those things have to come into play sometime. That's just a reality of being big, right?
Business. Yeah. Being in business. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Todd's the kind of guy, though. He's not going to do something he doesn't want to. But in turn, I think he's going to say, you know what? There's probably 10 kids out there that would think this is awesome. So I'm
You're
going to
right.
go ahead and make
Yeah, you're probably right.
it for those 10 kids.
And we could be 100% wrong. There could be a million people out there that think these are awesome. That's a possibility too.
Yes, there's a possibility. So what you guys are telling me, you're over the Jokerized McFarlane
No,
figure.
keep
I
bringing
want
them.
to see more because I want to dislike them in real time.
All right. Well, how about the Santarized figures?
Now I can get behind the
I
Santa.
like it. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Santa.
Yeah. You're a big fan of Joker too, though. That's why I always look to you to see if a Jokerized is any good.
Yeah, but I only like Joker. I don't like Jokerized things.
Gotcha.
I like Santa's.
Anybody dressed up in Santa's outfit is cool, which I agree. This is cool. I'm gonna grab this.
So there's a red and a blue version.
I definitely like the red better.
And
I like
these
the red better. I don't know why there's blue.
Yeah, these are exclusive to McFarlane's online store. That's the only place you can get these, and they are $30. So,
is it a page puncher? Is that why the comics with it, or what? Or is that just the backing board?
It looks like a 6-inch page punchers, 6 or 7-inch page punchers, but they didn't necessarily call it that because it does look like it has the same base with comic as the larger page punchers.
Okay.
There's coming out this. It'll probably be in the next previews, or maybe I missed it. There is a Batman Santa Claus miniseries coming out.
Okay.
So I wonder if that's the comic book right there. I don't know, but either way, I want Kevin. If you order anything, I'll pitch in. We'll share shipping costs because
okay.
Yeah, at the very least, I want the red one.
Okay.
But that blue one looks cool, but yeah, that's way better.
And all I'm saying to anyone watching and listening to is if you want an excuse to display, and I love my wife dearly more than anything, but I don't get a whole lot of display and action figures around the living room. But if you want an excuse to display an action figure, you get a Santa Claus Batman, and that'd probably be an easier job of convincing your loved one to let you, hey, let's have this out for Christmas.
Yeah.
Which is exactly my plan. Don't tell her.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, the Funko Christmas Marvel Pops, I saw them in the last couple of weeks if anyone's looking for them. And Kevin, you gave me a good segue to page punchers. No pictures, but because Image has the licenses back, well, not back, but under their wing, McFarlane is doing page punchers for GI Joe and Transformers.
Ah,
And again, those are the smaller figures that come with the comic. And I think they definitely did say that those were the smaller size, the 3-inch versus the 7-inch. So,
which is a more familiar GI Joe character or figure anyway. Yeah. Yep. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they're actually
GI Joe figures, I should say, not characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except page punchers are like 3/4 of an inch, even smaller than typical GI Joes. So
Right. Yeah.
the last thing, we got 2 more McFarlane things. The NHL sports picks for this year were revealed. There's the whole lineup, and just to spotlight hometown favorite Sidney Crosby. And
Nice.
they are $30 each. They're 7-inch figures, quote unquote figures. I don't think there's much posability in these sports figures.
More like more like a, what do you call them? Not statue. What am I thinking of? What's the word I'm looking for?
You might be looking for maquette, but I don't know. It's like an in-action figure, a staction figure, stationary action figure.
Right. I'm going to think of exactly what I'm trying to say here as you talk. I'll interrupt you in a minute.
And we'll run through these real quick. This is a wave of repaints for the Superpowers line. We've got to repaint Batman. It sort of looks like, the 89 Batman.
Yeah.
We've got a Flash.
Yeah.
We've got a Flashpoint Batman, which doesn't match his artwork on the side there for some reason.
Right.
We've got another Nightwing. Again, doesn't quite match. And there's a Robin. People were questioning why McFarlane can't get Robin's cape right. It's not black on black.
Yeah.
And we've got another Superman, which I don't know.
Which I don't know.
Yeah, those this is kind of a weak lineup of these repaints. I think I'm always more interested, even though I'm not getting this line, I'm always interested to see new figures, not these repaints.
And especially when they have them on card right beside the picture it's supposed to match, you think they'd nail it, right?
You'd think.
Well, see, that's a modern character as well.
Right.
Yeah, and seeing it on the classic card, it doesn't fit for me.
Well, I'm just literally talking the picture of the character. I know, but this one in particular, the other ones all kind of fit because they were around during that Superpowers era. This character wasn't, so. But yeah, the artwork there, it's like, come on. Kind of, yeah. That one's obviously definitely a complete fail, but
I'll wait for the Jokerized versions.
All right. Lastly, let's go back to some Star Wars. And while we're going to talk about Star Wars, let's do it this way. This is a cash grab. This was announced recently. This is the Star Wars Black Series Holocom Collection. Figures you know and love back in hologram form with a light up base and charging an extra, $10 on top of what they normally charge. And you can see there where there certain ones are exclusive to, like Amazon, Target, Pulse, and fan channels online. But here's basically sort of what you're getting. Like they said, the little light up puck, and I guess like a little nameplate.
That helps a little bit, actually. I'm not a fan of holographic figures like this, but that puck with the light up and the nameplate, that actually helps a little bit. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know either. It's just, trying to get more money out of the fans with the same old molds.
Yeah.
Here we go to wrap things up, because I know that wasn't very exciting. This was a
figurine.
Figurine. Okay, good. That works.
That's what I was looking for. Daggum, I finally found. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't mean to yell. I knew I would want to interrupt you though. Figurine. That's okay.
Yeah. So, and quickly, 2 things. I just give you guys the heads up. No longer on the horizon. These should be hitting shelves if you're looking for them. Like I showed you guys recently, that my Daredevil and Fist Ninja came. So the Mindless One Build-A-Figure wave of Marvel Legends is hitting shelves, as is the X-Men 97 line. I haven't seen them myself, but a lot of people are picking them up. So they're out there. And finally, my Horizon Hot Tip. This just came in on the wire right before the show started.
Oh, love it. Love it.
This is a deal. If you're interested, we have on Amazon, Mandalorian's N1 Starfighter is normally $131.99. It has a $25 coupon right now, so it would cost you $106.99. Just a nice little discount if you were really looking to get this Mandalorian and Starfighter package.
Yeah, that is nice. Yeah, I'm nowhere near that though, but yeah, that is a great discount if you're getting it. Yep.
Yeah, I've got some Santa Batmans to buy, so I'll have to pass on this one.
That's great. You know what? Looking at this graphic, say you go order this. They're really going to let somebody that doesn't check the apply $25 coupon pay the $132.
Yeah, I've always wondered that
how
too.
messed up would that be?
Yeah.
You know?
I bet you they would. Like,
I mean, it's right there.
Right.
Just auto apply it. Come on.
Exactly.
Do it.
Really?
Do it.
That's it.
Oh, sorry. I'm gonna
Okay,
quote. I'm gonna quote Butcher Yoda here a minute. Just trying to be comedic here. It's like apply it or don't. Don't make us try.
There you go.
Get it? Do or do not. There is no try. I get it.
Yeah.
Oh,
But there is a coupon if you're interested and you've been holding off. And that's the Horizon for this week.
Awesome. Dearly missed. Great stuff. All right. Let's get into a recap on this marathon. You all ready for that?
I think.
Yep. Oh, 10% off on McFarlane toys.
Okay. All right, Mike, what you got?
Not much. That worked once again. It's like,
Awesome.
The internet is fixed. I don't get it.
We're going to be perfect from this point on. I love it.
Yeah.
We just need you to get. We need to get you a lighting lamp for your area, and we're spot on.
Oh, I'm good right now. Here we go.
Oh, there
it was hurting my eyes.
Oh, okay.
I need sunglasses. All right. I don't think we touched on it much, but watch for Cover Combat 6 Monday. What time does that hit? 7:30, 8:30.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it at 8 p.m. I was gonna cover that at the end a little bit, but yeah, that's 8 p.m. Mondays, so you can check it out. I like to go with, and my idea on a good time frame for that is to go with how things felt when we were younger, at least me personally. Just like this show is early Saturday morning. Not so early today, but never mind that. Early Saturday morning, like Saturday morning cartoons, you get those. Then Monday night, I always looked forward to Monday Night Football. You get the Monday night Cover Combat show. Trying to set up a nice schedule to kind of hit you in the feels a little bit. That's the strategy of the schedule, I thought, at least. So 8 p.m. Monday, we'll drop it.
All right, cool.
Yeah. What you got, Pat?
I've come to the conclusion that doing this show is a lot more fun than working on roofs.
Thank God. Thank God you feel that way.
It took me 2 weeks to figure it out, but here I am.
Luckily, he's not going to say, hey, my neighbor's roof needs done, so I'm going to miss the show again. I enjoyed it so much.
Well, spoiler alert, mine's not done yet. So
Oh,
Oh man. All right. If you ever wanted to see a Star Wars Walking Dead universe crossover, you got it this week in the finale of Ahsoka.
So quickly, that was my wife's question. How do I feel about zombie stormtroopers?
So how do you feel about zombie stormtroopers?
I said I'm all right with it because of the background we know about the Night Sisters. It fit for me.
I'm cool with that as a reference too, but then also too, Dark Troopers is a great novel, which is about zombie stormtroopers. There's a reference there too. So
Okay.
yeah, I was totally cool with that as well. So I think I might be saying it wrong because you get it confused with the new things they say. But there's a novel that has zombie storm. It's not exactly a new thing. It's kind of just incorporated kind of EU stuff. So I liked it. I thought it was interesting. The only beef I had with that was that I thought them figuring out how to defeat them was a little bit too simple. Like I thought they should have maybe failed a few more times of just killing them the normal way before they figured it out. But they seemed to it was one fail and then they're like, okay, it's obviously about the head. Let's get that head off, But anyway, what you got, Mike? Anything else?
Just one more thing. Pick up the Sacrifices 1 through 3. Money well spent.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna look into that because the right project was the wrong project.
Nice. Yeah, this is the first episode, maybe forever. I'm not sure, but in a very long time, at the very least, where we had 2 forget it's. For different reasons, of course, but nevertheless, they're here. They're here. Mike?
Yeah, that's all I had. But I'm still waiting for that X-Men book to read so I can get a forget it up there too.
Oh man. Okay. Well, fine.
I can just go randomly pick one.
Fair, do it. I'm ready. Well, do me a favor, and I think I said I wanted to get at least a story. Just get at least 2. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Pat, you got anything else?
Just possibly Santarized figures are better than Venom or Jokerized figures. Forget about Venom figures. That's a different company.
Right. That is absolutely true. Me and Mike concur. So, all right. I really don't have anything else either. I'm kind of like,
I think that's enough for today.
Okay, good. Okay, fair. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's close it up here. Please like and comment on this video as well as subscribe and hit that bell to get notifications because we've been dropping the shorts and the reels. Actually dropped shorts 2 weeks ago. Started dropping reels along with shorts this past week. So make sure again hit that bell so you can get notified when those, because sometimes we're obviously us and we should definitely see them. Sometimes I don't even get notified when they drop. So make sure you do that to get it. And then please subscribe to Comics and Collectibles in the Crawl Space on Spotify for podcasters or many other podcast providers. And please listen to the edited podcast of this live stream on Spotify that will be posted no later than Tuesday. And then follow XcellarComics on Facebook, Instagram, and/or X, aka Twitter, and follow Xcellar_comics on TikTok and whatnot. And also on our website, we've actually got some new things, and we've got new plans to where the new things will be a little bit more regular than they have been. And I currently have a Whatnot show scheduled for Monday. Like I said, I will start that show once I either get a guest, get a bunch of ridiculous deals to ensure sales. I don't quite have enough for a whole show of that yet. Or I hit 10, bookmarks on that. I'll run it then as well. That hasn't happened. I actually messed up last week. I forgot to reschedule because I basically have to reschedule it every couple days that I don't get those standards. And I forgot to reschedule it once, and it actually had 7 bookmarks on it, and it just went away. So I apologize for all that. Whatnot's a tough. Me and Mike were talking about it this week with other people about Whatnot, that it's a tough sell. No pun intended. So, and then like I said, also check out what we have to offer on eBay at Xcellar_comics and on our website, XcellarComics.com. Then you can also help support what we do on the show through Patreon at patreon.com/XcellarComics. We would really appreciate that. And then lastly, oh, and this is what I should have changed. That's what I was talking to Karen about, changing the banners a little bit. It says to watch our next live stream in the scroll there, but it says on YouTube or Facebook next Saturday, which is a fact. But like Mike pointed out partially in the recap, definitely check out our next video show, not live stream, on Monday, 8 p.m. Cover Combat 6. Round 1A winner reveals and round 1B competitor reveals. Right?
That's it.
And not for not doing that for so long and then having to do it on my own without Karen like doing that's why Karen's so important. We miss you already, Karen. Come back soon. So anyway, that's it. You got anything else, Mike?
Nope.
All right, Pat.
Thanks for joining the Hat Club midway through the show, Mike. I appreciate that.
Thanks for noticing.
And happy anniversary to my wife. 28 years today. So
awesome. Congrats. Happy anniversary.
It's great. 28 years. It's awesome.
That is awesome. We aspire to be you. Awesome, Pat. Great job. All right. That'll do it then. Appreciate everybody stopping by, everybody checking out our stuff. And until next time, don't forget, appreciating great art is awesome. Reading a great story is fun. So why not pick up a comic book and do both? Xcellar out.